In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make spinach pancakes. You heard that right, green pancakes. They have spinach in them and no leaves, so your kid's not gonna be complaining that there's green stuff in it. So it is such a fun recipe and I hope you enjoy it. So the first thing you wanna do is have your blender out. The blender is super important. We are not making a smoothie, we're making the pancake batter, but we don't want to find any leafy greens. So I put the milk in my blender and next we're gonna add an egg. Now I do have a video with egg substitutes for pancakes, so I'll make sure to link that right below for you, and you can swap out the egg for an egg substitute if that's what you need. So we have milk, egg, and butter. I like to add a little bit of butter to my pancake batter. It is totally optional. And you could also make this dairy-free by using a dairy-free milk and omitting the butter or using a dairy-free alternative. The crucial part though is your spinach. You can use fresh spinach in these pancakes, or if you're like me that always keeps a bag of frozen spinach in the freezer for smoothies, like guys, I have this blueberry smoothie recipe that it's super delicious. It's rich purple, no green visible, and kids love it. So it's a really great way to get your picky eaters to get their greens in on the day. Frozen spinach takes a lot less room than fresh spinach, so a little bit of frozen spinach, it's like a lot of fresh spinach. So you're gonna put your spinach, fresh or frozen, in your blender, about a big fresh handful or about half a cup frozen spinach. So we are going to blend this in our blender. What we're going for is green liquid, not liquid with green things in it. Because if you're anything like me, somebody has picky eaters, you know that they can spot these green stuff like a mile away. So green liquid, it's good to go. Green things, no bueno. So up next, we have our flour. I do have recipes for gluten-free pancakes and all that stuff. So that's a dietary need that you have. Oat pancakes, make sure you check the links right below as well. So we're gonna put our flour in our bowl, and I'm just using my classic fluffy pancake recipe for here, but this method of blending the spinach into your liquid ingredients is going to work with a lot of pancake recipes. And I'll make sure I'll link those for you below. So our flour is here. And then to make our pancakes fluffy, we are gonna need baking powder. A little bit of salt to activate this. Now the one thing I like to add to my pancake batter is a little bit of sugar. It does cut out the taste of some of the spinach. Not a lot, but it's totally optional. Of course, if you're gonna use syrup and all those things, you can omit it. And we are going to whisk these ingredients to incorporate everything really well. Okay, so all we have to do is pour our green liquid ingredients into our batter, and the foam is just the blending of the ingredients, so don't worry about that. And let's whisk these. It's always so important to have everything you need right there when you start cooking, because friends, sometimes you have stuff on the stove and you're like, oh, I forgot something, and by the time you come back, it's easy to burn. So I like to bring out everything that I'm gonna need for the recipe on my counter. And as you can see, check it out, it's really looking like green pancake batter. So nobody needs to know there's a handful of spinach. This is a great way to get your picky eaters to get used to eating green foods if that's something that you struggle with. And speaking of picky eaters, I have an entire podcast series and so many free resources for you right below this video. So if that's something that you struggle with at home and you want to get your kids to try new foods, I've got loads of things like printables, oh my gosh, a lunchbox builder, so many good things right below. When I make pancakes, I typically have a large griddle, but I don't have that today. So I have a large pan. One of the reasons I love having a griddle is because it's even heat throughout, and I can make about 6 to 8 pancakes at once and not just 3. So it's all good though, it's just us today. Now, although I'm using a nonstick pan, I always like to spray or grease my pan with a spray or butter so that my pancakes don't stick. And you want to always grease your pan after it's hot. So right away, you can pour your batter and not burn your oil or spray or butter. So once the edges are defined and you can see little bubbles, we are going to flip these pancakes One really important thing about your spatula is to make sure you have a thin spatula. This one is not it. So I'm struggling to flip my pancakes, y'all. All right, find a spatula. Quickly, much better. All right. So these are really nice and fluffy. They have a great texture. And they're green, but they're so fun to eat. If you're wondering if you can make batter ahead of time, the answer is yes. You're gonna make the number of pancakes that you need, and whatever's left over, you are going to grab a lid or cover it, place it on top and refrigerate it. The next day, you just give it a good whisk, make more pancakes. All right, so I know you wanna know what they look like inside, so let's take one that's not as hot. They are fluffy green pancakes. No trace of spinach. Same thing as if you use green food coloring, but much better for you. Make sure you grab the recipe and all the other links right below this video. And while you're down there, hit that red subscribe button. You and I get to cook together every single week. So see you next time.